If you know the history of HBO, okay? I never know how to start this podcast, bro. Never know. By the way, how does my
What do
level
you mean?
sound?
Which level? You sound all right to me.
Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure. So, welcome to Insight, everyone. This is episode 1. Today, we're focusing on mental health and the effects that it has been having in our schools and on our youths. This is our second take at this, by the way. So, school shootings in America, it's very tragic. A lot of lives has been lost over the years, and we were just discussing about how this has affected American students and what the cultural differences are like in Asia and in Jamaica versus America. My name is Nick, by the way, guys, and on this segment of Insight, I have Ashani here with me. He's currently in China. Why don't you just pick up where you left off, bro?
I can't remember.
You were making a point about the difference with the school system there in China versus in America. Or I think we were talking about the effects that this whole school shooting thing like incorporates with the mental health of the youths and like the different parenting styles that we have. So, just go ahead. Like, give me your take on everything.
I think on everything is that parents just need to. I don't even think I can blame the parents, though. I just think it's just everyone needs to do their part.
All right, let's talk about accessibility to weapons, like in America versus other countries, right? In America, you turn 18, you can go ahead and buy a gun. No background check needed. You can just have the cash, be 18. You don't even need to present an ID, to be honest. You go in, they ask your age, you're 18, you can buy a gun and walk out. That's how easy it is. It's not even like when kids are trying to sneak in a club and they need to get a fake ID. You don't. You literally don't. They make it so easy for everybody to have a gun in that country, and I think that's a part of the problem. Apparently, I think it's one of the senators in Florida think the doors are to be blamed. Said
The
that
what?
the doors said that they have
Oh
too
yeah,
much
they
doors.
had too many doors and they need to take off the doors.
What
Too many doors in schools.
what do you think about the doors?
That's a great point. And I mean, if you don't have doors, right? The less doors you have, the more ways you have to run away. So instead of like going and fixing the whole issue of getting a gun, why don't we just fix that door that's been around since the age of time? Yeah, it made sense. Totally.
So, what do you think is like the end game for them? Like, obviously, they don't want to ban guns or
Man,
make it like they have to because I think to own a gun, like they should at least do a background check to make sure that okay, you're mentally fit to own a gun. I think you should also like go to a range, learn how to fire your weapon, learn how to use a weapon properly, and gain a firearms license before you can
no,
possess a gun.
that is too much work for the government, okay? There's a reason why there are two. I'm just going to sound like a conspiracy theorist right now.
Go ahead.
Okay. But
Everybody's
yeah,
here
there's
for
a
it.
reason why there are two parties in America, and there is a reason why there are two political parties in majority of countries. It's just to provide separation. The more persons you have on each side, the more money each side makes, and the easier it is to control each side
There's more
with
than
their
two
ideas.
parties in America, though. It's just that you just have two that are predominant.
Yeah, I know there are more than two, but two predominant parties that everybody really picks side. The rest of them are just like similar to that. There are more than two parties in Jamaica, but we just talk about the two.
Yeah,
It's just like
definitely get it. And Personally, I think they're a part of the problem, in my opinion. I don't know. It's just my take on it. I think that they need to change your legislation about guns and the whole policy. And back to what I was saying, like the way how people parent needs to change, especially in like black homes. Like it's so much aggression. Like beating the child is like the first option in most black homes. Not all. Trust me, not all, but in most. Now, I'm
Spare
not
the rod, just spoil the child.
I'm not saying you shouldn't whoop your child. Definitely you should. Especially if they're out of line. But I don't think that gives you the right to just hit the child for everything. Like, every little thing. You're going and you're hitting them, everything, you're shouting at them. Like, comes back to what I was saying, they don't feel like they have a safe space to like talk to you as a parent about their problems. So whenever they're actually going through something at school, in their personal life, they don't talk to you about it. They just wait. Sometimes emotions get bottled up, and then what happens is that they take these drastic measures. And the thing is, well, what I want to know is that when it's these school shootings, not to bring race into the factor, but these school shootings that have been happening in America, it's mostly white kids, if not
Yes,
only white kids.
of
No,
the higher hue.
I'm not sure, but white kids go, they shoot up a school. You hear that, okay, it's because they have mental health issues, right? Black kid goes shoot up a school, it's because they're a gangster and they're a thug. And I think that's also part of the problem, is because society make it seem like, okay, black kids doesn't struggle with their mental psyche as well, right?
Mm.
So it's like white kids can have this outlet and they can feel like, okay, if they talk about their mental health, somebody is willing to listen to them, right? Whereas
Mhm.
black kids don't have that. They don't have that in the home. Seems like they don't have it in schools. So where do they go? Who do they turn to? Oftentimes they turn to gangs, right? Because that's where they feel supported or accepted, no judgment. And they have like a group that stands by them and rock with them. So what do you think about that?
I love growing up. Being in Jamaica, which is all I can really talk towards,
Mm-hmm.
because that's our culture and how we stay. When it comes to mental health, we don't. Okay, so my situation is a lot different. So I can only speak to like different other person's situations, like my friends and how I see they grow up and things that they deal with. But
Yeah.
my parents always try to like ask me how my day was going, or if I'm good, or if like
Mm-hmm.
I'm studying too hard, I need to stop, or things like that, right? They don't outright ask me like how my day was, but they like try to word it in a way that it's like that they're asking me, but they're not asking me. But I pick up on things too easily, and I'm just like I'm annoyed now.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a level of you can be too over parenting, but like it's better than just like ignoring your kids, right? Because like I think in majority of black people person's home, especially in Jamaica, it's like you don't talk about family stuff, right? Family stuff stays within the family. You don't do this. You don't talk about that to random strangers. I mean, like
Yeah.
therapy is almost like looked down upon in
Yeah.
the black
It's
community.
like if you're going to therapy, you're crazy. That nigga
Yeah,
go. They're like, that nigga going to therapy. What's wrong with him?
it's like what's wrong with you, dude? Just just go pray or something. It's like,
Exactly.
yeah, you can go pray, but sometimes you just need.
Just remembering that Zoom, which we're using to communicate on right now, it has a 1 hour time limit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Well, that sucks.
we're gonna have to find a new medium to communicate for next week's
Mhm.
episode. So back on the topic of mental health, like a very taboo topic. It's hardly ever talked about in the black community. And I think another problem is, or another problem that I recognize that, especially with black kids, whenever they diagnose you with a mental disorder such as like ADD or ADHD, especially if they find out when you're young, right? They start putting you on all these drugs.
Mhm.
I mean, you're a kid. Of course, your attention span is gonna be short. They want to put you on Vyzan, Vicodin, you know, Adderall, and all that, just for you to stay wired. Like, that's not normal behavior for any kid like who's 10, 11 years old. And that is predominantly happening in America, and that's a part of their problem. Is because they don't really try to use therapy to its fullest extent, in my opinion. What I see happen is that they're trying to medicate the youths and say, okay, you have a mental disorder, take this for it, right? It's like they're trying to slap a band-aid on the problem without really addressing it. Because yeah, if they need drugs, then yeah, they shouldn't have access to it. But it also creates this opioid epidemic in America, which is also affecting the mental psyche of these kids. Like, like a lot of kids in America who are teens, right?
Mhm.
13, 14, 15, 16. These kids are exposed to a lot of drugs, and I'm talking about hard drugs.
Mhm.
They're addicted to codeines and different kind of opioids. These kids are already doing Molly, Xanax, and you wonder where
Molly, Papa Sam.
they have access to all these drugs, access to all these guns. I'm like, how do y'all expect to have a functioning society, right? With these two things in play. You have drugs in the left hand, gun in the right. And you see the damage that it's doing to the country. But I think it's only when it starts to affect a certain like group, that's when, like, people start to pay attention, because it's nothing new. We had the crack epidemic in the 80s, right? But nobody cared
Mhm.
about crack until crack started killing white people. Because when it was just in the hood killing the black people, it was all fine, right? It was just a bunch of niggas dying and nobody cared. So it it all I think it boils down to, like, you know I say it boils down to, but systematic racism also has something to do with this. And if you notice, like, black culture, white people always try to copy it, and they always try to make it their own, or they try to take black culture away from us. So if it's the black kids that are doing drugs, these white kids are gonna want to feel included, so they start doing drugs. You get what I'm saying? And then
Mhm.
these white kids start flipping out and doing all these crazy shit. So, for example, like that TV show that we were watching, Euphoria, it really depicts, like, how the whole school system is set up. Not say the whole as like a big picture, but it gives you a snippet of like what's going on in the mind of these kids who are addicted to drugs, who are exposed to drugs too soon. And also, you can take into factor like that other TV show, 13 Reasons Why, right?
Mhm.
Where the girl killed herself and she left these tapes, which I think was a sick thing to do. You know,
Something's wrong with that.
I mean, you kill yourself, right? And then you leave these tapes behind, blaming everybody before. I mean, like, you had time to sit down and record all these tapes, to leave behind people that, to say, oh, you're the reason why I did this, you're the reason why I did that.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't you take that time to go and see a therapist, like an actual therapist, seeing that she wasn't getting the help that she needed from her school guidance counselor? It just seemed like a sick thing to do. And yeah, they might have done things to her, but let's talk about cause and effect. What happened to her was terrible. She was a victim of being bullied. We saw a school shooting in that show. But the thing is, what she did, she created a lot of chaos with those tapes, and she made a lot of people feel guilty. She messed with a lot of people mental health, and she didn't have to deal with any of that. She didn't have to deal with any of the repercussions from what she did when she left those tapes and accusing people of this, accusing people of that. She was already dead, and she never got to see how her actions affected her fellow classmates. On top of her dying, and they grieved for her, mourned for her, she turned around and left these tapes and said, oh, I'm dead, but it's your fault. And it's also your fault. And it's also your fault. I think that was just a sick thing to do. Like, she should have, like, really talked to somebody. Because even Clay, right, in the show, she's going to blame him for pretty much being stupid. It's basically how I see it, because he wasn't picking up on the signs that she was dropping, right? But that's how it is when you're in high school. Like, teenage boys aren't as mature. They aren't going to pick up on all the signs that you're dropping around. Sometimes you just gotta open your mouth and just say it for what it is, and she didn't. So I'm saying with these two shows, we got like an insight on the whole American school system, and how it affected people on different ways or on different levels. So, for example, Euphoria, I think that was a very graphic show, to say the least. What do you think? Like, when you told me that it wasn't going to be for me, because I remember when I told you about the show, I watched like the first episode and I told you about the show, and then you started watching it and you got into it and you're like, oh, ain't going to be for you, bro. This is too much. Like, apart from every graphic thing that happened in the show, like, what was your takeaway from it? Like, would you say that it opened your eyes to like the real problem?
It was an interesting show. I'll say that. It was fun. Um, Actually, to go back to the 13 Reasons Why, I think hindsight, that was a thing. Yeah. So I think like we can all say like what someone should have done that would have been a better. But I mean, when it comes to like anyone, let alone high school children, we all think whatever we're doing at the time is the best idea, or we all think that this should be what should be done at that time to get whatever result that we want, not thinking about the repercussions of what would happen after that. So I think like some level of like blaming the person that did it, that went through something, that is really not thinking clearly, not really thinking about what will happen or what can happen, just thinking about this is what I want to do and this is what will happen from I do. I think I can understand that. But I mean, what she did was messed up, but at the same time, I kind of can understand it from where she was coming from, going through everything that she was going through, having not gone through any of that. But I've learned to just ignore things around me. Euphoria is just It's hella graphic. I'll be honest with you. People are going to be like on Twitter, which is just a microcosm of just random ass people just putting their 2 cents on something that really doesn't make sense. But persons on Twitter were complaining on how graphic Euphoria was, and then other people were like, "It's Euphoria. You should expect this." Da da da.
Yeah,
Um,
the name alone says it all, right?
yeah, you should expect this. This happens in Americans. This happens in schools all the time. Da 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 da. It's nothing wrong with it. And I'm just saying, like, there are ways that you can bring across a message without being that graphic. It was too graphic, in my opinion, for high school kids, regardless of if that happens in a high school or not.
Mm-hmm.
They are still high school kids, right? I don't need to watch the first episode of something and just see a dick flying around. Like why was that necessary? Like that no one can tell me that that was necessary for anything.
I guess HBO wanted to, give you perspective. This is the thing with HBO. It's HBO, bro. if you
Nothing.
if you know the history of HBO, okay?
No.
Before you had the hub, the P hub, and all those website, and it was on cable TV. Trust me, HBO was one of the spots or one of the channels that people would tune into for those adult content. But I digress. What I'm thinking about now is like, it's 2020, right? We have
Two.
this, yeah, 2022. I'm back in time. But anyways, we have this thing called cancel culture, right? Where it seems like even though you have freedom of speech, it seems like some people have freedom of speech, right? But other people don't. So it's like when you say something, this person get canceled, that person get canceled. Trust me, I think we might get canceled before this episode even airs. Before we hit the first 100 subscribers, we might get canceled because it's like you're not allowed to give your opinion on anything anymore. You have to be cautious of everybody's feeling and everybody's interpretation of what you might be saying or what you might not be saying, and you should be saying this that way and doing this differently. I mean, you can't please everybody in this life, and I think the youths need to understand that you shouldn't be living your life to please others. You should just be living your life for you. When you were born, you weren't born with anybody else, unless you were a twin or a triplet or a quadruplet or whatever you call that. My point is, most of us were born alone, right? So the opinion of everybody else, the other 7+ billion people on the face of this earth, really doesn't matter. As long as you're doing what you want to do and it makes you happy and it gives you a peace of mind, then to hell with everybody else. Like, they're living their life, and they don't want nobody to judge them, but they're quick to judge you for everything you say, and they're quick to bully you online. I'm just saying, don't feed into it, right? Personally, I know that social media is a big thing. A lot of us spend a lot of time on social media, whether it's YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, that dinosaur, Facebook, yeah. People still use it for some reason. I don't know why,
Like
but
aunties.
yeah, aunties, uncles, grandmas. But apparently kids still use it too, so. And I think Facebook is where like most of the cyberbullying start.
Um,
But regardless of what anybody want to say, like, it's your life, it's your choice. You just do you. And with the bullying, people gonna hate whether you're doing good or bad. So at the end of the day, just do you. Because if you do bad, they gonna hate. If you do good, they gonna hate still. So it really doesn't matter. You should just be living for you. And that's my point. Now let's dive like a bit deeper into like this whole mental health thing, because I think we spend enough time like rambling about like the cause and effect. Like, I want to talk about how we could find ways to treat it, you know?
Go outside and touch grass.
That's a good that's a good thing to do, and that's a good opinion, because I think a lot of us spend too much time in the house these days. Back to social media, spend all day scrolling through social media, wanting attention from people, I guess. And I'm like, there's so many people outside. Just go outside, meet people old-fashioned way, and stop waiting for somebody to answer your friend request on Facebook. Go outside and throw the baseball around and kick a football, whatever sport you're into. I don't know, go to the beach, go to the river, just go for a walk.
Just go for a walk. You know how good a walk feels, man. A walk feels so good.
You know how good a walk feels? Was when we had the major lockdown in COVID and nobody could go outside. Everybody wanted to take a walk. Everybody was inside getting fat. And that was messing up a lot of people's mental health, especially parents. They got sick of their kids throughout that whole first phase of COVID lockdown. Like,
of course, I get sick of them too.
Because they never spend that much time with their kids before, and then they're like, these little bastards are annoying, you know. And
not much time. Okay.
Yeah, during that time we had a lot of we had an insurgent or a rise in domestic violence, and then as a result, another like effect of the whole lockdown thing, we got a spike in conceptions. You know, a lot of babies were being conceived, a lot of babies were being born.
People were bored. They had nothing else to do.
Yeah. Bored in the house, bored, right? And I guess it's like, I think a lot of people need to be more aware of their mental health. You know, take into account their psyche. And medicating is not always the best option. Like,
so you're saying that smoking weed does not help?
Yeah, it can help, but what I'm saying is that you shouldn't be like solely reliant on weed or mushrooms. You know, you shouldn't be reliant on a drug.
Psychedelics.
Yeah, sometimes you do, but you gotta use it in moderation. You get what I'm saying? Because then when you can't get that high, then you just feel miserable, and then that's when people tweak out and, you know, trip, and then they do a lot of unforgivable or unforgettable things, right? Today's June 18th. Today's June 18th.
It's the 19th. What are you talking about?
You're in the future, my friend. It's June 18th, right? Today's June 18th. 4 years ago, José Onfroy was gunned down. You know, commonly known as XXX Tentacion. Today marks 4 years since he died.
It's been 4 years?
Yeah, he died in 2018.
When did hold on.
He died in 2018, and this guy was doing music for like a year and a half, 2 years.
Dude, Michael Jackson died in 2009. Shit. Anyways, continue.
You know, he had a big impact with the youth when he came on to like mental health as a topic. He was one of those new age SoundCloud rappers who really resonate with the youths of his generation.
I'll be honest with you, every time I saw him, he looked high, but he was talented. I'll give him that. He was talented.
When I saw him and I first found out about him, because I was listening to X when he was alive. You know, a lot of people found out about X after he was dead. So I was listening to X when he was alive, but when I found out about X, like, the first song I listened to for him was Look at Me. And I was like, this thing is graphic. This dude
Look at me.
This dude is it's crazy. I'm like, this dude is he's wilding, you know. And then, like when he died, I started listening to more of his music, and I started checking out a few more of his albums, you know. And he did a song. I think it's called "Everybody Dies in Their Nightmares" or something like that. It was a good song. And, you know, he did the sad video where it was like he was killing his old self, and the new XX Tentacion was being born.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he was a good artist. Definitely, like as I said, he resonated with the youths. He was like a troubled child, for what we know. He spent a couple months in juvie.
Did
Yeah, he did.
you
Him,
know a lot?
him, and what's that dude called? Ski Mask or some Slump God. Yeah, they were in
Oh
ju
God.
they were in juvie together. They were in juvie together, you
Yes.
know.
Oh God.
And yeah, you know, X's father is Jamaican, right?
Yeah, I've heard that. I didn't really look to confirm it, but that's what the internet says. So
Yeah, that is what the internet says. But it's true. His dad talked about him and all that.
why are we in so many different things? Can we just calm down?
It's transitioning, man. We can't stay on one topic forever, you know. Like, okay, you want me to go back to the mental health topic? You have a
I'm
burning
not talking about the
concern,
topics. I'm talking about Jamaica. Jamaica's in everything. We're everywhere. Like freaking ants. Just pop up in different places.
bro. We're supposed to be everywhere. It's like what we say, like about Watala, you get my say. We
It's like,
even in China. You get what I'm saying? We speaking of, and many people want to go into the topic here, but for a small nation like our culture really go far. You get what I'm saying?
mhm. Anyway,
Like a lot of people on that side of the world, here that side of the east, yeah, eastern
the
side of the
eastern
world.
part
hmm They know a lot about Jamaica, a lot.
too much.
They can't speak the language, but a lot. But I want to talk to you again about Euphoria. So I don't know. Did you watch season 2?
How much all of you for?
So I watched season 2. Apparently, there's a season 3 that's going to come out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And season 3 is going to be released in 2024.
Yep.
Why?
Can't wait. Why? I don't know actually. A lot of things have been delayed by a year, a whole last year, and I really one, I don't know why. Two, I don't care to know why. And I've done no put no effort in finding out why. But a lot of things that were supposed to be released either this year or next year have been pushed back to 2024. And I don't know if it has to do with budgeting. Everybody's blaming COVID. I don't know how true that is. I know a lot of people got laid off during the
Uh,
first 2 years, especially in the first year of COVID for different studios and different productions, especially for like animation studios and things like that. But I'm not really sure 100% if it's all down to just the persons that have been laid off because of COVID
hmm
or if there's another reason. But all I know is a lot of things have been pushed back to 2024.
Yeah, a lot of things have been pushed back, and I don't even know how I feel about it because it's a good show, but is it that good that I want to wait 2 years? You know
I
what I'm
mean,
saying?
we waited so long for the last season of Game of Thrones, and yeah,
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 we know how that went,
oh,
and
that went. Much as I loved it, the final couple of episodes were just like, not it, not it.
yeah, definitely.
But yeah,
I'm just really thinking like what is America gonna do, or like when it's gonna change for them to really address this issue with like the school shootings and all that? You get what I'm saying?
I don't know. Remember I was telling you about the First Amendment, Second Amendment law, the right to bear arms, things like that.
Nah, that's your First Amendment, right? Actually,
The First Amendment is freedom of speech.
not. I think in America it's their First Amendment, isn't it? Let me check. I think it is. Yeah, you're right. It's freedom of speech, bro. So, the right to bear arms is your Second Amendment, right?
Yep.
All right. So, what were you saying about it?
So yeah, I think. Let me check. But I think that was basically instilled for war, an attack on your country or something like that. So I think it's just like the right to bear arms to secure a free state, things like that. And I think that was mainly used to defend like if your country was ever invaded and things like that. And it just got like just generalized to just anybody can carry a gun, right? Which I mean, if you read it, it really doesn't give you a specific reason as to what situation you have a right to bear arms with. Kind of like the freedom of speech, but the freedom of speech is like more spot on or specific.
Yeah, as it should be.
Because freedom of speech just basically means that they protect you from the government, and anything you say, people can just say something against it or whatever, right?
So why people
But
getting
apparently,
canceled? Why people getting canceled
people,
then?
are people getting canceled?
Yeah, if they should have the right for freedom of speech, does not
Because
does it not apply in that context?
I mean, you can apply it.
So you're saying I have I have freedom of speech as an American citizen, right? But if I speak out against this group or that group, then shut me down, you know, exile me and cancel me forever. You know, one person I know they can't cancel? The baby. The baby can't be canceled.
I mean, you can't be canceled by from persons you don't follow that don't follow your music persons or your art form. So his fans never left him alone. So he really,
Trust me, they tried.
yeah.
The other people who don't like him, they tried, but they've been unsuccessful. And that dude, like, trouble seems to follow him though. A lot. You heard
Yeah,
when
but
they had he had the break in his house and he shot a dude.
but that's the energy that he brings. I don't feel bad for him. I don't care what anyone says. I don't feel sorry for him
No, it's not about feeling
because
sorry.
he was telling a story, right, about this girl. Two girls saw him when they wanted to take a picture, and before they took the picture, the girl was like, don't hit me now," and he was like, "What?" Because he was like surprised, and I'm like, "Dude, this is the energy you bring.
Mm-hmm.
You look like you would just stone on someone for looking at you wrong. Like, don't act like surprised when people try to be defensive around you because that's just the energy that you bring."
Didn't he shoot somebody in Walmart?
Yeah. And I'm like, bro, just
I'm like, how's this a thing?
live your life, but it's like if you bring certain energy on the table, then expect that energy to be brought back to you.
But what I'm saying is that this dude out here shooting people, and I'm saying defend yourself at all costs, right? I'm like, this dude seem to be that black man that they can't touch, right? He just seem unstoppable, and I guess for that, I gotta give him his props
No
because
one is unstoppable.
he ain't catching no cases for that.
No one is unstoppable.
Was he messing? Was he messing with Miley Cyrus?
I don't know.
Mm.
This is what you can't ask me, okay? You can't ask me about celebrity gossip or relationship. Nothing like that. I don't care about that. I do not care. That is not on my timeline at all. If you sign into my Twitter, all you are going to see is memes, jokes. That's it.
In current affairs.
Current affairs related to things that I am interested in. Anytime I see like celebrity relationship pop up from anyone, I'm just like block. Not interested. Delete that. I just don't want it on my thing. Like
This has been a depressing podcast for the most part.
there you go. People get depressed.
This has been depressing, but let's talk about like outlets though. Just come off the baby and like let's talk about outlets. What do you think of some healthy outlets for anybody who's like struggling, apart from going outside and taking a walk?
Switch grass, make friends. Don't be weird. When I say don't be weird, I mean I can't say don't be weird because people are just weird in their own ways. I don't know. Figure out what you like, and then just do that thing as long as it's not hurting anyone. That's what I say. Try not to spend too much time on your computer.
Do people even use their computer anymore? I think people use their phones a lot. So try not to spend too much time on your phone, to be honest.
Even like here, dude, it's like people just walk and they look down and they look down and maybe they look up in the space of one time in every half an hour. And I'm just like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Right? I'm walking, I have my phone like in my hand sometimes, or I just put it in my pocket, or sometimes I can't leave my phone because my phone has, if I leave my phone, then I can't go anywhere basically because I use an app to do everything, like transportation, everything here. But I'm not like always on my phone, right? Unless I'm doing something.
Yeah.
My phone is like, sometimes, literally, and I'm not even joking, and you probably realize too, sometimes my phone is not near me because sometimes you call me and I don't get it. Why? Sometimes I don't know where my phone is. That's how much I just try not to be on my phone. It's like I've trained my brain to just forget where I put it, and I'm just like, where's my phone? And then I look around for like 2 seconds and I'm like, it will pop up soon. I just try not to be attached to my phone. And I get that some persons, like their phone is like their business and whatever. But sometimes you just need to take a break from like technology overall.
I'm scrolling on my phone right now.
No, bro. Sometimes you just need to take a break from it. You just need to put it down, go walk for like 10 minutes, go sit and just go observe, go people watching in the park, look out your window, do something that doesn't require you to be on your phone.
The park.
Train your eyes to not look at pixels.
But my phone is a pixel. So what are you trying to say?
Train your eyes to not look at pixels that are constantly blinking in your eyes 24/7. You know what I found that I realized sometimes? Because within the past like year, I've been checking like my social media time usage.
Yeah.
And it's like way below like the average. I think I spend like on average probably like an hour every 2 to 3 days on social media because I can see how long the apps are open for.
All right, so you spend an hour, right? So apart from working, what else do you do with your time to stay like distracted, or to what is occupying your time apart from social media?
What is occupying my time other than social media? I mean, it's like the least amount. Dude, I go on walks. I look outside and I just stare at the sky because I'm like that weird kid. And I'm just like, hmm, yes. I
Y-
talk to my friends
You're not a kid
because
anymore.
yeah, that's why society is so dark and grim and depressing. Talk to my friends, try to walk to their house.
I thought
I
you
have
were
a
gonna
friend that lives
say.
like, what?
I thought you were gonna say that you talk to yourself, but that's not a bad thing to do, though.
Talk to
Sometimes,
yourself, man. You know everything.
sometimes you need to talk to yourself before you make a decision. Like you really need to sit down and talk to yourself and figure out your next move and really think, is this a wise thing that I'm going to do? I think it's the people that don't talk to themselves that you should be wary of. Because then people just
Everybody
act,
talks to themselves.
they don't think.
Everybody talks to themselves. Some people just think it's not cool, you know.
It's not
They're
cool,
still
bro.
they're still living in high school. I don't fucking care. I'll have a whole ass conversation with myself with 5 people in the room. I'm just like, okay, I've made a decision now. I mean, you thinking about something is talking to yourself. So like, it's stupid. Who are you talking to? Like, think about it. If you think about something right now, you are literally talking to yourself about something. And you're like, this is a good idea. No, it's not a good idea. But then I
So
should
let
be
me
like,
ask you
who?
something. Let me ask you something. Is it crazy? Is it crazy that when you talk to yourself, you're having a conversation with yourself? Like, I mean, like a full on conversation with yourself. And it's like you're split into like 3 or 4 people. Like you're having a discussion with like a group of people in your head. And y'all answering each other and forming different opinions. Is that crazy?
Yeah, people will say that's schizophrenia, but I might argue that that's just borderline being a genius. If you can divide yourself into like 3 or 4 different personalities and they stay within your head and they don't touch society, then that's borderline genius. You think about it. You
Uh,
don't have to talk to anyone else. You just draw opinions from those personalities of what they would do in those situations, and you're like, okay,
yeah. Because if you said it was crazy, that means I'm crazy.
no, bro. I've been in split decision so many times. I'm wondering what's going on.
But I'm weird though. Like, it's weird when you catch a nigga talking to himself out loud. Like,
Out loud.
you good, bro? You
No, I
good?
don't judge a person if I see them talking out loud. I make no excuses. I'm not sorry for that. I know you're judging me. I'm judging everybody. Why are you talking to yourself out loud? Huh? Do that inside.
But yeah, definitely I think they should, as you said, go for walks. I think that's
Play a
a healthy thing to
sport.
do.
People don't play sports these days, except here. They actually play a lot of sports here. Surprisingly, I'm actually surprised that they do.
Yeah, because y'all want to win the World Cup. Y'all want to be. Asian people not that good as. They're not top. With
They're not
sport.
good at sports.
Nah, it's
They're
not.
not.
It's not.
They're
They're
not.
not good at sports. It's just that I don't see with sports they're top of. For example, America has basketball. You know, Europe. I'm gonna put the whole continent of Europe. They basically have football down on lock. Jamaica has track and field. You know, I guess South America has football as well. You have England, Australia. They have cricket.
We have cricket as well, but that's just a combined West Indies of the
Yeah,
Caribbean.
yeah, we good at cricket as well. But what's that sports that you can just outright say, okay,
Badminton,
we're Chinese?
table tennis. I'm just blanketing Asia right
I
here.
think they're good at gymnastics, aren't they?
Simone Biles.
Aren't Chinese good at gymnastics? Isn't that like a sports that they dominate in?
I don't think.
You were saying you think you don't think they're good at gymnastics?
I'm not sure. I'm not really into gymnastics, so I can't really say. All I know is Simone Biles. That's literally all I know.
Well, I think we went off the deep end long enough for one night. And we should probably wrap this up until like the next episode, right? Unless
Probably.
there's another topic you want to discuss before.
I think that's good for now.
All right, so guys, this was the first episode of Insight, and it will get better over time. Definitely will, as the conditions change. But if you like the video or you like the first episode of our podcast, consider subscribing, sharing with a friend who you think will enjoy listening to our crazy discussions. Well, not so crazy discussions. And I guess until next week, we'll see you in the next episode. Stay safe. Take care of your mental health, guys.
Touch grass.
Drink water.